Okay, all right. So welcome you guys for our second meeting. What we're going to do now first is we're going to review the ABCs. Then we are going to move on to numbers. And I have a few phrases connected with like time that we'll do as well. But I really want to make sure you guys are feeling comfortable and not feeling overwhelmed. So we're going to for sure review and then start the numbers. But if you guys start to feel, I don't know, I don't think I'm ready yet for the time signs, we can stop and go ahead later. So, yes, Maggie.
Should I ask a question now or later?
You can, what is it related to? Is it related to like ABCs or is it related to deaf culture? Like
It's related to ASL. Yes, definitely. I'm experiencing some arthritis in my left. Yeah, you've probably heard this in my fingers out here that are making it difficult to make some signs. And I wondered if it would be better for me to try with my left hand, which I'm very right hand dominant, or to keep just trying to do my best with my right.
So I would say whatever feels you think is best for you. And the reason I say that is because I can do the ABCs with my right hand, but I am left-handed. I am like you, but for the left, I am left side dominant of everything. I kick with my left foot, I write with my left hand. My right hand is pretty much useless except being a supporting character for my left hand. So but I can still sign with my right hand. It does take me a little bit longer, but it's still capable. So if you wanted to do that, you can. And I would just warn, it's not going to feel as natural as it would for your left hand. I mean, your right hand. Sorry, I'm flipping my hands. Your left hand, it wouldn't feel as natural as like.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. My neighbors are home and she hears the little children and always has to bark. Anyways, what I was saying is that you can use your left hand. It might feel a little bit stranger in the beginning, but if you continue with it, it should be better. But you also can continue with your right hand. So whatever works for you best. Okay. Are there any other questions you guys have, or are y'all ready to get started? Ready. All righty. Okay, so we're gonna, like we said, we're gonna review last week. So we're gonna go through the alphabet. There are two ways we can do it. We can do it where I will voice the ABCs, but I will not sign them to kind of like challenge you guys trying to remember. The other one is if you really don't feel fully confident, yeah, we can do it together first. But honestly, I would suggest trying this first option where I voice it just to kind of challenge you guys. And if you don't remember it, it's not the end of the world. We can still, I will give you the sign later. So let's do that. Okay. So A. Good. B. Excellent. C. D. Good, good. I'm impressed. Not saying you guys can't do it, but I'm always impressed because a lot of people get D and F mixed up. And so most of the times when I get to D, that's when I start to lose people. They go, I'm like, but y'all got them all right. It's awesome. E. F. I did just give y'all that one. So G. H. So G, H. Yes, you want to have sideways. Yeah. I. J. K. Yep. We have very sorry about that. Once again, like I said, it's the neighbors. I think they're coming on the side of the house so they can hear them. And yes, but they should be quiet now. We're on K. So K. Mm-hmm. Then we have L. Mm-hmm. M. Good. N. Mm-hmm. O. P. Mm-hmm. So that K and then down. Mm-hmm. We have Q. So Q is that G, but now down. Mm-hmm. No worries there, Mary Beth. Whenever you can get in, that's fine. Let's see. R, and I think my letters. I signed it. Whoops. R. Mm-hmm. Then we have our S. Mm-hmm. T. I'm looking at everybody's screen. That's why I keep bobbing. I just thought I'd point that out. I'm not just shaking over here. No, I'm bobbing to everyone, like nodding. Yes, that's right, right. U. Mm-hmm. V. Mm-hmm. W. Mm-hmm. X. X. Mm-hmm. Y. Mm-hmm. Y. And then Z. Ooh, you guys did y'all's homework. Y'all practiced. Wow. That was awesome, you guys. Like, I really didn't have to show any signs. There were a few where it was very similar. It's just like getting like some slightly difference, but wow, y'all been practicing. Either that or you'll have a great memory from last Tuesday. So, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do one more review. And I'm going to finger spell some words. Hopefully they're not the same words from last week, but they can tend to be that way. But we're gonna finger spell some words. I'm sorry, I looked at the subtitles thinking, oh, it's a chat. No, it's me. It's me talking. But I'm gonna finger spell some words, and then when we're finished, we will go on to numbers. So we'll only do about, I'd say, 5 words, but they will be slightly bigger words. And then this last one is going to be a long one. So I really want to give you guys a challenge, especially with how well y'all remembered the ABCs. So we'll start kind of short and build up to that. Let's start with the first one. Okay, y'all ready? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. If you guys want to either chat it or voice it. Yep. Yep. Or action. Yeah, if you can do the action, that works for me too. Yep. So yes, this is cup. Cup, cup, cup. Mm-hmm. All right, awesome. Okay. So yes, Abraham.
After you spell it, or finger spell it, can you show the sign for it?
Yes, I can. So the sign for cup is actually what you were doing. Cup, cup. Mm-hmm. One of the cool things with ASL is some signs can be just very literal. And so it makes it actually easier because you almost is like, okay, well, that makes sense. So cup. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. All right, next one, our second one, number 2. I won't lie, I am in my kitchen, you guys. And that always is where I get my like creativity. So I look, I'm like, what do I see in front of me? So I'll do it again. So this is oven. So how you do oven is you put your non-dominant hand sideways and your dominant hands, it's like you're sliding in like a pizza, or you're sliding in your dish oven. All right, let's see. So number 3, this one. Oh, I understand that. Trust me. You get the M, N, and T's. They're all here. And I told you guys I'd have my nails done last week. I'm sorry. That doesn't help. But yeah, trust me, it's a very easy to get those flipped because they're so close together. It's like a lot of people also get A and S mixed up because they're so close. So, and those are just, like I said, those simple little mistakes. So it's not like it's like big ones. So you should have confidence in yourself. It's like, okay, just miss a little one. And most of the time you can look and go, okay, that's not a word. So what am I missing here? And then it can like kind of help you use context clues to kind of fix it. So, all right. So number 3 is going to be a slightly longer word. I am going to try to slow down for this. I know I've been doing them kind of fast. So. Maggie?
Flow?
Close. So I'll do it again.
F. L.
Tarika, do you have it?
The flower?
It is. It is flower.
Flower.
So flower is flower. It's like that. It's almost like you're doing hand puppets. Think like that. And then you're going to tap it from one side of your nose to the other. Flower. Some people will do it with an F, flower. That is, so there's technically, I'm going to go short on this. I do it every class. So American Sign Language, ASL, is not the only form of sign language there is. There are actually there are multiple different ones. And one of them, like there are 2 kind of common ones, at least the ones I see. It's ASL, and then the other one is called Signing Exact English, and that's C. And that one is more like how we talk and how we write. So for example, like an ASL, if I was saying I'm going to the store, I would say store me go. But in Signing Exact English, I would say I am going to the store. It's much more elaborated and follows that English structure, but it's not ASL. And so some people, what they'll do is they'll put a letter with their sign. So like flower, they'll do that. Later on, we'll see it more so. And sometimes we do use that in ASL. Most of the time for things like flower, it's just flower, but they can be Fs. So I'm just saying, if you see someone say this, it can be flower as well. So, all right, awesome. Let's go on to number 4. Number 4. Let's see. I gotta think. I drew a blank real quick. Okay. I know I'm looking in my kitchen. I do this every time. I need to move places so I have more variety than what I give. So I always give the same things. So let's see. Okay. All right. I have one. Ready? All right, I'm gonna do it again. All righty. I saw a lot of head nods. So what it was is fence. So fence can be a couple different things. It depends on how you're talking. Usually fence is like this, or it can be like this. Because the way that is a little bit more complicated sign. The reason I say that is because it depends on the conversation. Because you'll notice we have some signs that are used that have multiple meanings, like they can mean this and this. And the way you figure out how it is used is by context clues. And fence is kind of not one of them, but one of them, because it's not just like, oh, yeah, I have a fence. No, you would do like, I have at my house, I have a, like you would describe it and kind of act it out and show. Excuse me. So that's why I say fence can be fence, or like fence. It just kind of depends on the type and how you describe it. But we will learn that. We'll learn some of related to that with describing later. That's kind of near the end of our classes. But okay, so let's do our last one. This one is the long one, so remember that. Okay, ready? All right, here we go. I love when you guys can pick up on that and are like, oh yeah, no, I know what word you're spelling. I got it. And see, that's what you want because so I was looking at the chat, what Miss Katie said, it was funny, but that's kind of what you do in ASL is you watch people's finger spell, but you don't like watch every letter. You just kind of pick up, oh, it's probably this word. So it's good you guys are starting that now. All right, I'm gonna do it one more time. So ready? Okay, so this was refrigerator. So the sign for refrigerator is refrigerator. It's like the motion of cold. This is also the sign for cold. So like I said, there are a lot of signs that are used for different things that mean kind of, they're like similar. So, you know, like cold, or refrigerator does keep cold, so refrigerator. So, and the way that you know they're talking about refrigerator is, you know, they're not going to say, someone's not going to say, oh, can you open the, like open the cold, that does, you know, it's like, okay, what else could this mean when you're opening something? Oh, open the refrigerator. Or, oh, give me your lunchbox, I'll put it in the fridge. You're not going to put it out in the cold and leave it. No, you'll put it in the refrigerator. So, but all righty, well, you guys did awesome with that. So now let's get started with the numbers. Some people love the numbers, some people hate the numbers. I'm just fair warning y'all. There are a few that always get, they're hard and they're kind of annoying, I will say. So I just like to warn people because Yeah, they're fun. I personally like them, but some have had some hard times remembering a few. I mean, I have a few that I struggle with. So I don't need my phone for this. I usually have my list on my phone, but I was like, I know the numbers by heart, so I don't have to like remember, like have to see to remember what's the next one. So anyways, okay. So the first sign I'm going to show you guys is that sign for number itself. So number. You guys have probably seen me do it when I was saying these. So number is number. It's again, it's those two puppet hands and you go number. So number. Yes, Abraham.
I've seen you a couple of times, like repeat, kind of do this a few more times than I think you would normally do in a conversation. And I'm wondering, so like when you did flower, you kind of went back and forth while you were talking about it. And so I'm wondering if you do flower and you kind of do it a few extra times, or actually, what is the smallest number of times you do it? And then do you do it multiple times in the course of a conversation, or is like, what is the?
So what I'm doing is when I do like number, I'm saying, okay, so number. It's because I'm saying it again, I'm doing it. For number, usually you go number, just like that, like one time, number. But you can do number. No one's gonna like kind of look at you and go, that's wrong. It's a different meaning. They'll just see, okay, number. For like flower most of the time is 1, 1. But again, it's not like you go, oh yeah, flower. They're not gonna look at you and go, okay, you've totally lost me. So flower is just, it's that one time. The reason I do it over and over again is to show, because I know some people may not see it great, so I repeat it. That's why I tend to go back and forth. It's just to show it's that motion, flower. We good? Okay, just want to make sure I explain that. So, but yes, like I said, so for number, it's just, there's not really like a set times you sign it or you do the motion. You don't do it once. You would do at least twice, but there's no like a set, you have to do this 3 times or you have to do it 4 times or whatever. It's just kind of that bouncing. 2 times is kind of like average, but like I said, no one's gonna look at you and go, I don't know what you mean now. So
does it make any difference which hand you're using?
Because they're just kind of doing the same motion.
So it's just one hand on top of the other.
So you have them kind of angled, like you see. So I'm going to start them next to each other, like facing each other. And then I just kind of bend one forward slightly. And then I bend them, like they just kind of go back and forth. So they're not on top of each other. They're, I guess you would say like almost like they're kissing. And then you have one go sideways and then you alternate. Okay. Number. And that one is also, it doesn't matter which way you go forward. It's just the sign itself. That makes sense. There's very few signs where if you start with your left or you start with your right, it's not going to make, like it's going to make a difference. Most of the time it doesn't make a difference, whichever way you go first. Okay, so let's go on to the actual numbers themselves. So number 1 is 1. Simple as can be. Then we have 2. Then we have, so 3 is 3 with your thumb. Then we have 4. And we got 5. And this is where it starts to get different. So then we go to 6. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is you can actually go all the way up to 99 on one hand, which I think is so cool. Well, actually, no, you can get up, because 100, you don't have to use a hand. You have to use 2 hands. You still can use one. So you can actually get up to 999 on just one hand without even having to use the second one. So that's always a little cool thing I like to say. But all right, so we're on 6. So 6 is going to be our 3 that we're kind of used to. And this is where it does get a little tricky, I will say, is our 7 and our 8. So 7 is going to be your ring finger goes down and your pinky comes up. 7. Then we have 8, which is now your middle finger goes down. And then we have 9. And then 10. Thumbs up and you shake it. Okay, so we're gonna go over those again before we go on to the next ones. I will say we will go all the way up to 25, and then I will show you, because 1 through 25, most of them have a different sign for each one. Afterwards from that, they're kind of the same, you do the same thing for them. So that's why we're not going to do all 100 sitting here going all the way up to 100, because they don't have like different signs, but I will show you the common way of how you do the other ones, if that makes sense. I think I'm describing it kind of weird. You will see when I show you guys later. So let's go back to number 1. And 1, it doesn't matter if you have it forward or this way. Most of the time you do want it facing out. A lot of times when you're like, as a teacher, when I'm saying, okay, number 1 is this, number 2, I will have it this way, but most of the time you do want it facing outward. But like I said, it still is not the end of the world if you do have it facing this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. So the one thing I did want to say, so 6 and 9, if you've noticed, W, 6, F, and then 9, they have the same motion. The way you know the difference is, again, depending on the conversation. So if they're talking about someone's name, most likely if they're doing, if they're doing this, like Willie, they're not saying 6 I-L-I, yes, it's like 6 I-L-L-I-E. They're saying W-I-L-I-E. There are times when like you're doing like passwords and stuff, or you're trying to do like usernames, and that has, a mixture of numbers and letters. And what you would do is you would say the number. So like if you're saying, okay, so the username is G May number 6. So you would add that number to show that that is what you're talking about. So you would add that. And then for letter, you would do, it's an L, and you tap it on your pointer finger, letter. And so that would be how you guys could differentiate. So you would either say letter, and then you would go W, or you'd go number, and you would go 9. So does that make sense? And don't worry about feeling like it's hard, because I understand. Trust me, I do. I've been through you guys' shoes. I did not grow up with ASL. I had to learn it myself. I've seen my junior and senior year of high school. So it is capable, but a lot of practice does take to help it. But like I said, so this is just giving you guys all the signs, and then during the week, you guys can use to practice and help you guys kind of build that confidence, and then you come back and you learn more. So do not worry, I promise. It is all good here. Okay, so now let's go on to 11. So for 11, what you're gonna do is you're gonna have your hand, you do want the back of your hand facing you this way. And now you're going to flick your first finger up, 11. So if you see it, I'm flicking my finger up. Yeah, so I'm not like doing like the come here motion, it's the flicking. Yep. 11. Then we have 12. 13 is going to be your thumb sticking out. And now you're going to do the come here motion, 13. Then we have 14. So 14 is going to have all 4 fingers. Your thumb comes back in. You do not want it sticking out. You want it in. And you'll do the same motion. The coming here. Yeah. 14. Then we have 15. 15, now the thumb is out. 15. Mhm. So let's do those again, because I know those are very different. So we have our 11. Mhm. And we have 12. So 12 is just the two fingers and you're flicking them up. Mhm. Then we have 13. Mhm. Then we have 14. Remember, no thumb sticking out. Mhm. And then we have 15, which does have the thumb. Mhm. Okay. One of the ways I always kind of say, trying to help people kind of gather how numbers, how like kind of a helpful tip is I always like to say that when with numbers, they tend to kind of build and go back. So like if you notice we go up our fingers, and then when we do like our 6 to 9 and 10, you start at that pinky and then you work your way back to your thumb. So that kind of is like a trick to kind of help you guys think, because 1 through 9 are extremely helpful because they are what helps us later when we're doing 16 through 19 especially, and then other numbers. So just kind of like I said, remember, so it kind of you go all the way up and then you come all the way back, if that makes sense. Yes, Mary Beth, did you have a question? No, sorry, I saw the hand raised and my instinct is like, oh, someone's got a question. All right, so let's do 16. So 16 is going to be the same thing as it was for 6, but now you shake it. 16. And it doesn't matter how like you shake it, how many times, you shake it. 16. Some people do, and I've started doing it myself because I see it, is they'll do 16 where it's their pinky bouncing back, going back and forth on their thumb. It is sometimes for others, it is a little harder and not as comfortable. So this is still also 16. There are 2 ways, 16, 16. Then we have 17. So 17 is the same thing now with our 7. And we do 17. Ring finger, Miss Katie. There you go. I saw her kind of look up and kind of think, which one is it again? So 17 or 17. It's the ring finger now.
My hands worked. I got it together.
So we got our 17 and then 17. Then we have 18. So 18 is again the same thing. It's 18. It's 8. And you shake it, 18. And then we also have 18, where it's the middle finger bouncing back and forth on the thumb. And like I said, if this is more comfortable, there's no right or wrong answer between this and this. They're the same ones. So then we have 19. So 19s are 9. And you shake it, 19 or 19. Okay, so then we move on to 20. So 20 is going to be 20. It's almost like you're doing baby shark. I always think of baby shark when I think of this now. 20. Okay, let's go back through 16 through 20, and then we'll go on to 21 through 25, and then I'll show you how you do the rest of the numbers. So we have 16. Or 16. Then we have 17 or 17. Then we have 18 or 18. Then we got 19 or 19. Then we have 20. All righty. Okay. So for 21 through 25, Mainly it's 21, 23, and 25 that have their own signs. The signs we use for 22 and 24 are how you would do the other signs. So I'm going to show that. The reason I'm going to show those first is because you can do those for 21, 23, and 25. And basically what you do, continuing on, is you're going to do this kind of bouncing motion where you're going to go, like if you're doing 21, you go 2, 1. So you kind of separate it. So 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5. And then continuing on. So you can get like 85, 89, 63. It's that bouncing back and forth. Some do it a different way, but I'm going to show it this way because I feel like it's a little more clear. And since this is just the starter of ASL, well, for this actually, you'd want to go kind of like, so if you're doing it right hand, I would do like 6, 3, 42, 3. And the reason is whatever you bounce first. So like if you start here, you want that to be your, like, if it's 43, you want to have your 4 here and then do 3. So you want to do 3, 4, because that would be 34. So it's basically whatever you start with, whatever bounce number you start with, that's going to show your, like, the first number, if that makes sense. I'm trying to figure out how to better way to describe it. If I had a whiteboard, I'd draw it and I'd show it. But
I was saying, like, so what I do, so like say I'm doing 43, would I go like 4 in front of my left shoulder or my right shoulder? Because I'm thinking the person across from me is reading left to right. Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah. And I definitely get what you mean, because like for me, since I'm left-handed, I tend to do that like this kind of way. It's not really, I think it's more related. Like I haven't seen issues like that, had confusions with that. And so I think what it is more related to is that whatever you bounce with first, like since I bounce with the 4 first, and then I bounce with the 3 second, that shows 43. You can go 4, 3. If you feel like that to you makes more sense, that go for it. It's not like, I'm trying to figure out how to, basically ASL is not that crazy strict. We're like, if we do one slight difference in an English sentence, we completely change the whole meaning. ASL is a little more flexible with that kind of stuff, because it's just so visual. So it's not like, okay, well, if you did 4, 3, or you did 4, 3, that bouncing would kind of keep them going to know which ones, if that makes sense. Okay, so then, okay, so yes, we did the 43, 99. Sorry, my watch has all those achievements that it wants to tell me, hey, you've been active. I'm like, yes, I know, I've been moving, please stop. So back down to our 21, our 23, and our 25, because those 3 do have signs. 21, like I said, you can do 2, 1. Most people don't. You can though. It's not like, oh, you did it wrong. No, it's just that if you don't remember the sign, it's totally fine. So 21's own sign is 21. You have like the shape of an L, and then you bounce your thumb back and forth. 21. And then 23, oh, excuse me, 23 is going to be, you have the 3, and you're going to have your middle finger bounce back and forth. And then 25 is going to be the 5. And now your ring finger and your middle finger are going to go 25. So that's how you do 21. Try and move it so you guys can see I'm going in order. 21, 23, and 25. And for our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll do like for 30, you'd go 3 and you pull into a 0. 30, 30, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Very simple, just bounce into a 0. Okay, so how are we feeling on our numbers 1 through 25? We feel good. Oh no, trust me, your hands are gonna probably hate you for like the first 2 weeks of this. I promise. They're not like I had like sore muscles when I was learning all this, especially like the numbers and the ABCs, because it's just so like your hands are not used to it and they're just like, what are you doing? Like I remember I couldn't do K. K hurt so bad. It just was so painful to do K. So I started like kind of like very little, like K. And I was like, that is just not comfortable. But then I got to it. So the practice, it's like how when you start a big workout, and you're working and then you're like, oh, I'm so sore. And then later you start to build and it's like, okay, I can do this better now. So that's how it is with ASL. So if you're sore, that I like to joke and say that means that you're doing it, you're learning it, you're getting your hands used to the motions. But so are you guys ready for me to show you how you do like 100, 1,000, a million? I'm just going to show you the sign for themselves because I'll explain on this. I know I do a lot of explainings, but I just try to give you guys the reasoning behind it so it makes more sense, I think. So for 100, what you'll do is like if you're doing 100, you'll start with that 1 and you'll pull back. So you go back into a C. 100. You see that? You want to kind of face it that way. Yeah, 100. 100. Like 200. 300, and you don't want to go into that 0 because that would just be 20, 30. You want to go 300 back into that C. 300. So if you were going to do like something like 350, you would do 300, 350. So if we were going to do 999, yes, Abraham?
When you did that, so you moved your hand slightly to the side. Is that intentional? Like you did 300.
The reason I did it was because I realized I was doing it in front of my face.
Okay.
And so I was moving it so you could see my C better. Because I realized that like it's kind of weird looking. The reason I go in front of my face is because when you're doing ASL, like especially with like numbers, if I'm doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you see I'm going in a line, I'm going across myself. It's like I have set up a number line in front of me. And so I tend to sometimes do that as I'm like going like 300, 400, 500, 600. That kind of sense is I'm going on that number line and I'm trying to keep myself in this one bubble so you guys can see it better. So if I do that, it's just kind of going back. It's not 300, 300, it's just 300 back. But I realized I had my 3 in front of my hand. So that's why I pulled back sideways. So 300. Like what I was saying for 999, you would do 999. So 999. Okay. Then for 1,000, this is when we do bring in our other hand. Your other hand's going to be palm up. And what you're going to do is you're going to go 1, trying to move my head again so you guys can see 1,000. So 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 9,000. And so like, again, you do the same thing. So if you're saying 1,950, you would do 1,950. And I do slide across when I'm doing a bigger number. And the reason for that is so it's that visual, like it slides, like how we read it on a paper, if that makes sense. Like with 350, you don't have to go all the way across because it's a smaller number. But when you get to like bigger ones, like 1,000 and a million, it's a good idea to kind of go across. So it looks like you're almost like writing the number. So if I was going to do 1,000,000, you would do the same motion. So you have your palm up, you do 1, and then you go 1,000, and then you bounce again, million. So 1,000,000. And if you see, I'm going to turn it sideways. You do have it facing forward, but I'm going to turn sideways so you can see it. So I'm doing 1, bouncing from the palm of my hand, like the back, to where my fingers start, bouncing forward. Yeah, million. So 1,000,000. Sometimes kids like to be funny, and it's just something to kind of show like it's a very fun ASL dramatic kind of thing. Is if you're talking about, we'll be like, oh, you said that like a million times. You'll have kids and you'll have people who will go, oh, you've said that. And they just keep doing this, bounce, 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 bounce forward. And it's kind of a funny joke on like tease on the sign, where it's like, you just keep going. You've never stopped, like just a million. And so that's always just a fun little sign. I like, cause like, I will do that. I'm like, you do that a million times, and they kind of laugh. Yeah, it's really cool with ASL, because like some kids are very creative and they will take a sign and they'll like kind of tweak it a little just to kind of work with like a funny saying or kind of a funny thing. And it's just, I think they're kind of cool. I like to always tell people them because I think it's a really cool creative side to show with how fun ASL can be. So, all righty, let's do our 100,000 and a million again. And then we have, it's what, 617. I'll ask how you guys are feeling. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me questions. And then, yeah, so, okay, so we have our hundreds. So 100, just want to see, 100. We have our 1,000, 1,000, and then 1 million, million. Make sure you do that double tap. Okay, so how are we feeling? Oh wait, so my starting one, so when I go across, sorry, I just saw your message, that's why. So I do tend to start from right to left. For me, that's kind of like how I visually see it, because like it's opposite for me, if that makes sense. So like I do it kind of opposite for myself, so that way everyone can see it. For you guys, since you're right-handed, I'm thinking, because if you would go 140,
that was my problem. Like my tendency is to go left to right from how I see it. But then I was like, wait a second, if I'm looking for somebody else to look at it, is it gonna make sense to them?
And that is like the common kind of thing for me, at least for me, because since I'm left-handed, I do things backwards. So I have to think like that. And a lot of times what they say is when you're signing is you do want to sign it in relation to how the person in front of you would look at it. But like I was saying, I haven't seen a lot of big issues because they're just very, like, since everyone's so visual, they're really good about picking up on, okay. And like I said, whatever you start with, you start at the front of your number. You know, you don't ever start with 53,592. You know, I didn't even say that right because my brain doesn't want to go that way. You don't build up, you go down. And that's kind of how, you know, that's just kind of how we all know it is. You know, if we say 352, that means 352. And I think that's very much the similar way in ASL, is that if you start with saying like 345,632, and you see how I'm going from my left shoulder to my right, it would still make sense if I did 345,632. I know I'm saying different numbers for my son. Sorry. It is hard to sign and talk.
If I'm doing this at a restaurant, I'm not gonna get like weird looks because I'm going from, okay.
You shouldn't. More people are, a lot of deaf people, I say a lot, I don't say all, but most are very understanding and they can be very patient, especially if you're telling them I'm learning. And I will give you guys that phrase. I'll give it to y'all tonight. Like to show like I'm learning. And a lot of deaf people are very patient and very sweet about it. And if you do make a mistake, they'll either kind of let it be, or they will correct you, but it's not in a, that's wrong. Like, no, they'll be like, let me show you. So I've had very good experiences with deaf people. I mean, I work with deaf people, but when I was learning ASL, I was very nervous. I didn't want to make a mistake and nothing like that. And I never really experienced anyone being really rude to me or looking down at me because I made a mistake. They're very patient. They're just happy you're taking the time to learn their language. So, yes. All righty. Okay. You are that's welcome. Sorry. I know I did that immediately. It was like, wait, you're welcome. So like you have thank you. That's what she did. So she did thank you and then welcome. Welcome is you kind of curve into yourself. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, so are there any other questions you guys have? Anything you're curious about? It can be related to ASL, it can be related to deaf culture, the deaf community, anything. You're just doing, yes, Maggie.
I saw that movie, The Sound of Metal. And did you see that movie?
I have not. The Sound of Metal?
Metal, METAL. And in the movie, they bring up the controversy of deaf people using sign language versus those with the cochlear implants. And it was very interesting to me because I'm losing my hearing as a older person. And so there's quite a discussion about, should you just try to correct it or should you try to learn ASL?
So that is a very big discussion in the deaf community. And it's very controversial, like you said. There's really, and I'm gonna do my personal opinion and explain why. I always have, there are people who are gonna disagree with everything. But so I'd like to just point out, this is my personal opinion. This is not a, oh no, these are the facts. Like you should do it this way, this way. I'm just like, this is my opinion. Is there's really no right or wrong way. It's just kind of depends on the person themselves. Like if you go for the cochlear implant like surgery, I will say that surgery is basically what it does is it completely cuts off any hearing you have. So like if you were to go now and get the surgery, you would be completely profoundly deaf, which means you would hear nothing. So it can be looked as a very serious, which I mean, it is a very serious surgery. So for a lot of people that are like, well, I'm hard of hearing, I have a hard time hearing, but I still can hear some, they have that discussion of, do I want to completely lose any hearing I have, or do I want to keep what I have now? And with the cochlears, it does not sound exactly the same. It sounds very different. It sounds mechanical. It can be very kind of strange at first. And a lot of people, the biggest problem is that when you get that cochlear, it's not a magic pill. It doesn't just change. It takes a lot of therapy and a lot of speech therapy to kind of work and build on it, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's not like you have that surgery and then, oh, it changes everything. There's still a lot of therapy and work you have to go involved with it to actually make it successful. So that's why I think a lot of deaf people do have kind of a hard, and well, deaf people also have a hard time with cochlears because to them, it looks like you aren't accepting yourself. The deaf culture and deaf community is a very proud community. And most of them are very, I am deaf and I'm proud of that. I don't need anything to change me. They don't see being deaf as like a negative label. They actually like hate the type of words that say like hearing loss or and I don't like using this word either, but hearing impaired. It's kind of just like it's like almost like a bad word in ASL. It can be very negative. And so the deaf community is very proud of their culture and sign language. And that's why there's like that big argument, like you said, do I try to change myself or do I try to learn a new language? And it really depends on the person. The only thing I ever suggest is if you decide to go ASL or decide to go like hearing aids or cochlear, to do it all that you need to do. So doing the speech therapy or taking those ASL classes, getting involved where you're communicating more and building those skills. And that's always kind of my suggestion. Personally, now, because I have the language, I wouldn't go that way, but I also could see myself doing it too. It's very, like I said, it's a very complicated kind of question and situation. And it really, like I said, just depends on person. some people, some deaf people will be they get very like offended, but most of our kids at my school have cochlears or they have hearing aids. So most deaf people are very welcoming and understanding of differences. I think the biggest frustration is that if you don't go the full way with it or you don't accept ASL, because ASL is just a good backup. If you know what I mean? Like, because if you don't have that cochlear, like it goes off or if it falls or the battery dies, you can't go swimming with it. What are you going to do to communicate? Like, especially for kids who have not grown up with hearing or having speech, like what are you going to do? And so I'm always like, well, ASL is a good support. And it's also a good support anyways for kids. It just helps build language. So I know I went very long in it, and I could talk like days on this because it's such a big discussion and there's so much involved. But like what I've said is like it really just depends on the person and your personal opinion. There's no, like I said, there's no right or wrong. You may talk to someone, they say, oh no, that's wrong, or no, that's right. But again, that's just
I wasn't asking what's right or wrong. I recommend watching that movie for everyone, The Sound of Metal. It's really wonderful. But for those of us caught in the middle that didn't grow up with a community and then lost, our hearing, it's you don't have either. So it is challenging.
Yes, and I do know a few people who have they had their hearing and then they lost it later in life. And those that have gone with the hearing aids or gone with the cochlears, they've lived again like those successful lives. They still are able to have their speech and their hearing in the sense because they've worked with it. And then I have seen those who went for the full ASL. And I actually have one coworker who he lost his hearing. When was that? I can't remember, but he lost his hearing and he kind of immersed himself in the deaf culture, and they're very welcoming. So that's always a good thing, I think, is that they're just they welcome, they're not going to look at you go, oh, well, you got it. You lost your hearing later in life. Oh, you're not allowed in our club. Like, no, they're welcoming and they, are there to support you. At least most of them that I've seen. Because, not everyone is nice. Not every culture community is going to have all nice people. You're going to have some people who can be very judgmental, but most that I've seen are very understanding and really want to support you and help you whichever way you decide. So it's always good to have that support system no matter where. Are there any other comments or questions you guys have? I know we have like 1 minute.
I can't wait to learn basic phrases like I'm learning. I have 2 really new deaf friends like the last 2 weeks. And they both have cochlear implants, and they, I guess, probably read lips a little bit. So I'm able to talk to them some like about basic topics, but I'd like to be able to do it more. And sometimes we just like type in a note on our phone too. But one of my friends, Ryan, he typed a little note to me that said, hi, I'm Ryan. I'm shy and introverted. I had this surgery and I was wondering, can you understand me? And I can understand him a little bit, but not all the time. And I didn't want to say like, not all the time. So I just said yes. I don't know if there's like a better response to that.
I would suggest, I will say when a deaf person has the cochlear, has the hearing aid, they can be very sensitive because they want to feel like they're actually being successful. And one thing I would suggest is saying, oh yeah, is you would say like, yes, I do. And then if you don't, you can do, I'll show you, it's the sign for repeat or again, and it's repeat. And so you can ask them, can you repeat that? Can you say that again? And kind of asking them. And that way that helps you keep a clear understanding of what they're saying. And, you know, we do that normally in conversation anyways. I have to do that talking, signing, it doesn't matter. I will have to go, "Ooh, can you say that again?" You know, and so doing that and kind of asking for that clarification will help them kind of build and improve as well, but also not hurt their feelings where they're like, "Oh, I think I'm not good at this." Like, no, you know, you're helping them be like, "I understand you, but I missed that. Can you repeat that?" So, and I know I said I would teach this phrase and you reminded me. So I'm going to teach you guys the phrase for, to do slowly and to sign slow, and also saying I'm learning. So if you are going to say I am learning ASL, you would go me, you point to yourself, and then the sign for learn is you have your non-dominant. So you guys, as most of y'all's rights, palm up. You're going to start kind of almost like a jellyfish, and you're going to go learn. And I love this sign. It's like one of my favorite ones. So learn, and then you're going to go ASL. So they'll know that's American Sign Language. I learn ASL. You would do, if they ask you like, "Oh, did you," like if they're, "Oh, like how long," you could say recently, or like I'm new. And the way you would do new is you'd go, okay, this one I'm going to go sideways so you can see it better. You're going to have your non-dominant kind of almost in that open hand, same one with your dominant, and you're going to go new. Yeah, new. There we go. Yes. I feel always awkward when I try to sign it, because sometimes it looks like it's hard to see. So new, like you go, I'm new. And then you could say please slow. So please is please, open hand. And then please sign slow. So you do please and then sign slow. And you want to make sure your hands like, yeah, you want to do like the back, slow. So if I were gonna, I'm gonna try. I don't sign slow because I don't talk slow. I very much built it to where it's so comfortable I can sign as fast as I talk. Does that mean it is always right? No, but I'm at that point now. So no, yes, so no. No is gonna be those two fingers and they end on that thumb. No. And then yes is just nodding your head. Yep, yes. So I do not know where the origin of new came from. I know that like birth is the sign for birth is like very like makes sense. It's birth, and it makes me laugh every time. Because I'm like, yeah, makes sense. Got it. I love how visual some signs can be. Yes, that one. I saw that one. It's always funny with signs, how cool and how visual and so literal they can be. But
So this is visual.
Would
it also be like I see, or from what I see?
So C is like one, I see.
Okay.
But visual is this, is the double, it's the back and forth. I love how you guys are picking up on me signing, because like it is hard for me to like disconnect, especially because this week I've been with kids all day signing and with co-workers. So that's why I'm like with all my hands. I'll try to continue that. Sometimes it's hard. But yes, what were you gonna say?
I think I saw you say like creative.
So creative is like, it's 4 fingers. You have the pointer fingers near your foreheads, and then you kind of just bounce them out. Yeah, creative. And it's, to me, it's, you know, when you think of a creative person, it's their mind, they're thinking in their head, and it's kind of just all moving about. Creative. Oh yeah, there's a ton of signs you can pick up on just by conversations. And that's why you're very beneficial and like fortunate, because you have 2 friends that you can work with, and hopefully since they want to be friends with you, they will help you, and they are like, honestly, they're the best people to practice with. Asking them, hey, I'm trying to, and like signing, spelling, they should be, you know, patient and go slow with you, so they can help you, and you can help build a better friendship with them. So it's when you have a deaf person you really talk and communicate with, that's when your signing starts to just kind of pick up, go really fast. So Okay, so we did go overtime. That's fine. The reason I say this, I feel bad for those who are like, oh, I do need to go. If there's ever a time you're like, I have to go, it's 6:30. Like it's totally fine. You can go off. Like you don't have to stay. We can go kind of long because I'm very passionate about my job. I love ASL. So I can just talk. But if you have to go, do not feel like you have to stay. Like Miss Katie says, we have this recorded. So if you do, you're like, I have to go. I'm like, oh, but I am kind of curious what she talked about. You can see it later. So, all righty. And let's see. I drew a blank. Sorry. So we'll close for now. I'll see you guys all. Oh, Miss Katie.
Yes.
I have a conference that I'm going to next week.
Okay.
And I will not be available next Tuesday.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can video myself doing some signs. And if you guys want to like meet together still and like practice your ABCs or practice your numbers, you guys are more than welcome to. I'll let that kind of be up to you guys. And
We can do that. I'll send out the link and open the classroom, and I'll have some quick, I can definitely do some phrase and word quizzes. I can attempt a numbers quiz, and I'm pretty sure to get it correct.
and just a good old like practice of like finger spelling.
But we'll meet and we'll do some I'll spell some things and we'll do like we did earlier, and then we'll do some where everybody spells something. We'll do stuff like that.
I realized
if you don't want to be, if y'all don't like, it's not gonna hurt my feelings. If you prefer Gillian, if you want to skip next week, that's fine. But I'll open the room and we'll do some stuff.
So yeah, I just thought that'd be good. I realized, what was it, like last Thursday? Because that's when I started the conference. It's like been virtual, but Tuesday is like nighttime. It's like all nighttime, which is good. But I'm like, ooh, that starts from 4 to 8. Ooh, okay. Whoops. So, but yeah, and I'll also video myself, probably doing like the times. Probably a good one to have anyways, because there's so many signs for time. So I'll do that, and then I will share it with Miss Katie, and then you guys can watch it together or watching it independently. So, all righty. Well, I will see you guys 2 weeks from now. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of y'all's 2 weeks. And yep. Bye, guys.
Yay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.